would you dob in your child to the police if you knew they had done something wrong? 0207 862 2222 is the number. We're asking because a 14-year-old boy caught up in the recent riots had been marched down to the police station by his furious parents, who told him off so sternly that the police decided no further action was needed. Prosecutors say that the parents' discipline tactics were even more effective than any action that the criminal justice system would have taken. So, would you have done the same thing if you knew your child had been caught up in the trouble, or any kind of trouble actually? Would you dob them into the police, or would you want to protect them from potential criminal record? Or just protect them in general, JJ? I mean, that is the instinct of any parent, is to protect your child. So actually dobbing them in goes against the grain, does it not?
I wouldn't be able to do it. If it was my son, I would not be able to do it. If I'm able to parent him myself. And of course, there's some kids who are just wild and they need to be pushed on someone else to discipline them. I'm not against saying to your kid, look, if you carry this behaviour, I'm going to go and tell that policeman. We see that happen all the time. But that kid could have ended up having his future ruined because of a bit of boredom and some silly mistakes when he's a teenager.
But what signal is it sending to your son if your son knows that you know that he committed a crime and you're going to cover for him? What is that telling your son? Is that not telling him that it's okay to lie? It's okay to break the law?
It's telling him that you made a silly mistake, and on this occasion, I'm going to protect you. But if it happened again, if he seriously broke the law again, then that's different. Then maybe I would have to take him to the police station. But let's presume this is the kid's first brush with the law. He was a bit bored. He's a 14-year-old lad. He sees some action happening downtown. He goes there and he throws some rocks at police. And his parents have disciplined him themselves, which is great parenting by the parents, that even the police think that's enough.
I do wonder whether it's actually an interesting strategy for the parents, because obviously if you take yourself to the police and hand yourself in, you're more likely to get a more lenient sentence because you've acknowledged that you did something wrong. So actually maybe it was the parents' way of protecting him to try and see him in a more favourable light.
Well, another way of protecting him is to show your child at 14 years of age the two influences on your life. One influence is that you get on the streets, which could involve gangs and nefarious people who want to turn your mind to things which are unlawful. Or there is the police. And all my life since I've been brought up, when I was a kid of 6, if a police car, there weren't many police cars in those days, turned into your street, you went and hid behind the hedge because you'd think, I must have done something wrong. The police are coming for us. We were frightened of the police.
I'm 37 years old. I still feel that
exactly.
way when I see a policeman. I think, what have I done to you? And it's this instant guilty feeling, and I have no idea where it comes from.
Exactly. So very good parenting. The parents taken down the one and said, this is the rule of law that you run your life by. Not those kids on the street who are trying to influence you, but this man in uniform, highly respected. That's the way to do it. Don't lose your way again and understand and believe what these people do.
But hold on, some of these rioters have got custodial sentences and criminal records. And is JJ not right when he says, as a parent, you are really risking putting your child's future in jeopardy by taking them to the police station?
Well, no, because I think the major message here the parents are trying to get over is bad and illegal behaviour is bad. It's not a good thing. Don't let your life be dominated by that sort of behaviour. Go on the straight and narrow and you'll have a better life. You'll have a ruined life if you listen to those people over there in that gang. But that's what they're saying, and they did a very good job.
But what if the police had said to this kid, actually, thanks for your parents to bring you down, we're now going to give you a criminal record? That's going to follow him for the rest of his life.
Well, he shouldn't have committed crimes, and then he wouldn't have got a criminal record. And the police have been very adept at saying, right, because you've done it this way, we're going to let you off this time, don't do it again.
It's a very interesting discussion, this, so don't go anywhere because we'll be taking your calls on this one. Vivian from Essex, you're up first. Would you dob in your child?
Yes, I would, and I did.
Oh, what was the situation?
He was a lot younger. It was many moons ago.
What age roughly?
12, 13.
Okay, so young.
Wasn't listening. He was with a crowd. And they did a stupid thing of throwing eggs at a druggie's house, which could have escalated.
Okay.
So we took him down the police station to just instill how serious it was. And the police backed us every bit of the way. I can't fault them.
And what was the outcome of this, Vivian? Did he get a criminal record? Did he get a warning?
No. They just spoke to him and more or less backed me and my husband.
Uh-huh.
And yes, he listened, which was good.
Did he stop hanging around with the crowd he was hanging around with?
Yes, it dwindled away after that. So,
Okay.
yes, he could have got into... It wasn't that the police explained. With a druggie, you don't know what way this is going to go. It could go like we got away with it.
Sorry, Vivian, when you say druggie, I don't want anyone to be identified here. Are we talking about a drug dealer or a drug addict?
He was a drug addict.
Okay.
And you don't know whether they're going to attack.
Okay.
Or what. He took a risk.
I want to go to JJ, because here we have a situation where a parent's taken her child to the police station, and actually it's all unravelled quite well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For the best.
But I would say it's extremely unlikely the police are going to give a kid a criminal record for throwing eggs.
What if they had, Vivian? What if they had decided that actually he should get an official warning or something on his record that he would have to have told to future employers? How would you have felt then?
But they don't. They only have to after a certain age. And plus, it doesn't go on their record. It comes off after, I think, 16, unless they've changed the rules.
Oh, OK, so because he was under 16, you thought you were in a better position.
What about... I wanted him to listen to somebody in authority rather than me and his father, who he wasn't listening to.
He wasn't listening to, yes. I do wonder what happened to your relationship with him, because my fear as a parent, if I was to dob my son in, would be that it would break down the trust between him and I. He would feel like he couldn't come to me in a time of trouble or angst.
He is the most wonderful lad, and he looks after me and my husband, and he's there for us all the time. And he says, if you hadn't have done that, I might have not listened even more.
Excellent.
Vivian, well, it sounds like it worked out for you. Thank you very much for calling with your experience of that. Kathy from Lancashire, what's your view on this? Would you dob in your child?
Yes.
You would? Have you?
No, I haven't. But there was an incident at home when I was about 6, 7, and a pair of my mum's shoes, leather shoes, had a seam down the back. And they'd been cut. Now, I know damn well I hadn't done
Darn well. We got you, Kathy, darn well. Yep.
It had to be done by my brother, who was 5 years older than me, and he denied it. So we had a policeman live down our street, and my mum put a headscarf on to go and get him. So, frightened what would happen now, obviously I didn't know at that age, so I confessed to it. And we had a very strict family, and I got a leather strap on my backside and sent to bed.
Kathy, that's so cruel. Now, how do you feel? I mean, you were very young at the time, so it must be quite hard to go back, although clearly a memorable moment in your life. Does it change how you feel about your parents, the fact that they got a policeman involved?
Well, they didn't, because I confessed to doing it, even though I didn't.
Before?
I don't know, because I can't remember, it was so long ago, but it did frighten me. But that's why I confessed, because I didn't want a policeman involved.
So you would dob a child in future?
I don't know. It depends what the crime was.
And that's it. Like, Kathy, for me, the caller before you saying that she took a kid down to the police station because she was throwing eggs at someone's house. What I grew up, egging people's houses was done around Halloween. Throwing tissue on people's houses was done around Halloween. You wouldn't go to the police. It may be unsocial, but I don't think we shouldn't be getting the police involved in that kind of thing. Well, however, if you've got a child who is doing some serious criminal activity and you can't control them yourself, then perhaps you should get the police involved. But for little things like throwing eggs at houses, I think that's a bit far to get the police involved.
But it is a sort of scale of things, and I wonder, at what point you start to think, right, OK, it's really important. He or she is completely off the rails, and we need to give them the fright of their life. Kathy, interesting story, actually, that it might backfire and you might get a child confessing to something that they didn't do just through utter fear, particularly at 6. Kathy, thanks for your call. Becca from West Midlands, what's your view on this?
I did dob my daughter and I took her.
OK, for what did she do?
We were in a shopping store. She was 8 at the time and she took a packet of sweets. I wasn't aware of it until I got home. Obviously, I found her upstairs eating them. I've got a disabled child as well, so obviously she's under the legal age, so it's not them they're going to come for. It's obviously the parent.
Uh-huh.
And what I wanted to explain to her, being a single parent, she's not just messing with her potential. There's potential that I could, you know, be the one that either a hefty fine or even, you know, committed to prison.
No,
and it's not only that, then where does her brother go? Do you know what I mean?
So it was a
don't
life lesson. What
What
did the police do? You took her down to a police station at 8?
No, Asda. We walked straight back into Asda. We told Asda what she'd done, so they detained us in a waiting room. They called for the police to come. So in one aspect, she had to do the walk of shame as well out of, you know, the store, the three of us together. But she does, and she will sit in class. She's told all her class friends, do you know what I mean? It's stupid. It's not worth doing. Mm-hmm. And she even says to people now, I am scared of the police, but I'd rather go to the police than come. Like, she'll tell me anything and anything. Okay. But she knows I've got her back. No matter what it is, I'll be there to support her. But it's to go to the go to the local authority, tell the truth, and as long as that's always done, I will be there by her side.
Well, I suppose
now she has.
As an adult now looking back, she'll know that you knew as a mother she was never going to end up in jail over stealing a packet of sweets at 8 years old, but it was enough of a shock of the system to make sure that she wasn't going to do anything else. But Becca, so the relationship between you and her is done quite well. I'm actually, more than anything in your story, the thing I'm most surprised about is the fact that the police turned up to a theft, because that just wouldn't happen now. If a parent marched their child back up to a store to give something back or to apologise or to pay for something that their child had stolen, there's no way they would see a policeman. Do you think that that's a negative thing now, Becca, that actually that is a job of a policeman to be teaching young people right from wrong?
I do, in one sense, because I'm 37. I was always brought up, if you saw a police officer, they're there, could you need help? But also they're there if you've done something wrong. And I've always told both of my children, if I see a bobby in the street, you're to have ultimate respect. They're there, you know, should you need help, if you're in trouble, whatever. But also, at the end of the day, don't be unaware that if you've done something wrong, they'll find out and they will come. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And, you know, that knock at that door...
Becca, can I just ask or interrupt? Have you heard of the broken window theory? And that is that, you know, one window gets broken, you fix it and make sure nothing else happens. What I'm saying is, because you took such strong action the first time you found out that your child had stolen something, has that stopped her from doing it for the rest of her life?
Sounds like shit it has.
Hmm?
Do you think that stopped what you did? Do you think it has stopped your daughter from stealing or doing any other criminal activity for the rest of her life? It was a big enough shock.
I hope so. Do you know what I mean? And the thing is, she's accountable now. She's over, you know, the legal age and all the rest of it. I can only hope. Do you know what I mean? But like I've said to her, I will be there to support her. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't determine that I'm not there. We do. We love our kids immensely, do you know what I mean? And unconditionally.
It's an interesting distinction that you make. Thank you very much for your call, that you can still support your child while forcing them to face the consequences of their action. You know, just because you're dobbing them in doesn't mean that you're not necessarily going to support them through the whole process. Amber from Plymouth, what's your view on this?
So my daughter's 18 now, but 5 years ago, at 13, she came in with a handbag. And the handbag is something I'd never seen before, so I questioned her. And inside the handbag was a knife, a flip knife, a knife that she would have been arrested for, had the police pulled her aside for. So I phoned 999 the minute she come through the door. And the police came out and she was dealt with.
What happened there? What was the outcome of that?
She'd got into a group of friends, and it wasn't, none of them were at blame. They were all at blame together. You know, they were all egging each other on. She got a caution, and she was banned from hanging around with her friends again.
Oh.
It wasn't an easy call to make, but if that knife had landed in somebody's stomach and took somebody's life, this isn't a game.
Amber, that's a really compelling story. Thank you very much for sharing. What do you think? Is that something you would call the police for?
100%,
a knife?
yes. That I think is serious enough. Some kid throwing some eggs, absolutely not. But if you're talking about knives, where it's a danger to the kid themselves, but also to other people as well, then I think it's right to tell the police in that sense. And the kid got a caution.
Well, and made not to hang around with those friends anymore. So you are, I suppose, in that instance, protecting your child. It's not just you saying don't hang around with them anymore. If a police catches you hanging around with them, you're in big trouble. Amber, thank you very much for your story. Thanks for all your calls on this.